very urgent. Your soulmate is about to give up waiting for you. Open this before midnight. Jesus says, "My child, I have watched the one I made for you send out a call that never reached your ears. A third person snatched it from the air before you could ever know. You have carried a hollow ache, not knowing it was love stolen. I want you to close your eyes and see the face I crafted with your future in mind. That face has smiled in your direction so many times, hoping you would somehow feel the warmth. A third person stood in the way and hid every trace of that smile from you. This love is not a fantasy drifting in your mind. It is a living soul, breathing right now, whose heart has been calling your name through the quietest hours of the night. Every whisper was blocked, taken by a hateful force that did not want you to ever find each other. Think of the laugh you have never heard but somehow miss. That laugh belongs to the one who carries the other half of your joy, and it was stolen before it could land in your spirit. You were never empty because you were unwanted, you were empty because a third person was intercepting the very signs that would have filled you. The longing you felt last Tuesday when you suddenly grew sad for no reason was not your own. It was your soulmate's heart reaching across the distance, only to have a cold hand cover its mouth. That hand belongs to the enemy who has been hiding them from you since before you knew their name. Now I am peeling back the cover so you can see what was always there. Your soulmate is beautiful, tender, and they are exhausted from sending love that never seemed to arrive. The third person made them believe you didn't care, but I am telling you today that you never received the message because it was deliberately taken. Jesus says, "The block is breaking, but only sacrifice can tear down the final wall that hides your soulmate's voice from you forever." Picture the way their hand would fit into yours, a quiet lock that needs no key. That hand has reached for you across the table of life, and a third person slapped it away every time. You are only now sensing the bruise because I am letting you feel what the enemy has been doing. Your soulmate has been writing your name on scraps of hope and tossing them into the wind. Not one scrap landed because the third person stood in the wind and gathered them all like stolen mail. You were supposed to read those words years ago, and now the enemy trembles because you are finally seeing the theft. When you go to bed tonight, the heaviness on your chest is not just yours. It is the weight of a soulmate who has almost stopped believing that their protector will ever show up. The third person planted that hopelessness, and only a seed of love can uproot it. Deep in your memory there is a dream you once had of a voice calling your name from a distant room. That was not a dream, it was a real cry that the enemy turned into static to keep you confused. Today I am turning the static into clear sound, but the enemy will not release the last of the call without a sacrifice that proves your love. I am letting you fall in love right now with someone you have never fully seen. Your heart is racing because their heart is finally touching yours, even through the wall the third person built. That wall is shaking, but it will stand forever unless you sow your seed and declare that no intruder will keep what I have joined. If you truly love the one I am showing you, type 333 right now and seal your willingness to receive what was stolen. The simple act of writing those numbers tells heaven you are ready to fight the thief. Jesus says, "The soulmate I formed for you weeps behind a door that a third person locked, and the key is a sacrificial seed planted with love's own hand. The enemy convinced you that the silence you felt was just life being empty. But it was the sound of a throat hoarse from calling your name, a voice that the third person smothered with a pillow of lies. Now the pillow is being lifted, and you can hear the faint gasp of a love that still refuses to die. Your soulmate is not a distant concept, they are flesh and blood, crying real tears onto a pillow you have never seen. They look at the moon and wonder why the one meant for them never sensed the ache. The third person told them you were heartless, but I am showing you the truth so you can become the warrior who shatters that lie. The future I designed has a small kitchen where you both laugh while coffee brews. The enemy has been trying to erase that kitchen from the blueprint of time, replacing it with a picture of you alone. Every time you delay sowing your seed, another brick of that kitchen turns to dust. I want you to type 777 if you can feel the love trying to break through the wall right now. The numbers are a signal that your spirit agrees to tear down every barrier the third person built. Stop. I can feel the enemy trying to make you think this is too intense, that you should close your heart and finish watching later. That whisper is the same third person who stole every call, now trying to steal your response. If you close this now, the wall will thicken and your soulmate's voice will grow quieter than ever. Listen to the tears of your soulmate as they sit in a room you have never entered, wondering if they were made for no one. The third person laughs at that loneliness because it keeps you both weak. Your seed is the only weapon that turns that laugh into silence and that room into a place of hope. Jesus says, "Do not let the enemy's cheapest trick." The thought that money is too small a thing to matter, become the very chain that keeps your soulmate hidden. You are not being asked to buy a miracle, you are being invited to plant a seed that proves your love is more than a feeling. The enemy knows that if you sow, his grip is broken, so he whispers that a few coins cannot change anything. That whisper is the same lie that kept your soulmate's letters from reaching your hands. The third person has been celebrating every day that you two remained apart. They danced when you mistook the silence for indifference, and they grew fat on the stolen messages meant for your heart. Now you are seeing the truth, and the only thing that can turn their celebration into defeat is your sacrificial seed sown right now. The life you could share, the children who would call you both by name, the garden where you would grow old together, is fading like a photograph left in the sun. The enemy is the sun, and your inaction is the bleach. Sow your seed and become the shade that preserves the picture, the warrior who says, "No more theft." You've watched this far for a reason. God brought you here. And right now, you're thinking, how do I sow that seed? How do I actually do what God is asking? I am about to show you. You already know who this is about, that person you can't stop thinking about. The one heaven placed in your life. Here is what God wants you to know today. They are thinking about you too. Deep down, your soulmate wants you. They want this future. They want to build a life together. But the enemy does not want you to unite. Love is under attack. While you sit there, spiritual forces are working to destroy what God joined together. Distance. Doubt. Disaster. They are being planted against your soulmate this very minute. You are the one God chose to block it. Not later. Now. Here is your divine instruction, sow your protection seed immediately. The link is in the video description. Click it. Send 4, 6, or 10 coffees on Ko-Fi. This is not a donation, it is a covenant offering that opens heaven's protection and claims your soulmate and your future together. After you send it, write these exact words on the Ko-Fi page: "Protect my soulmate, Lord. I claim victory over our future." This is proven. Over 1,000 believers have already sown this seed and received their breakthrough. Their soulmate's heart opened, relationships restored from the brink, strangers turned into spouses within days. When you move in faith, Jesus moves heaven to bring you together. Every second you delay, the darkness grows stronger. A text that wounds. A temptation that cheats. A door that closes forever. Your soulmate is on a battlefield, and you are their shield. You have already invested your time in this message. Do not waste it. Finish what you started. Step into your role as their protector and claim the future God promised you both. Click the link in the description. Send the seed. Seal the prayer. Do it before this video ends. Heaven is watching. Your soulmate's heart, your love, and your future together depend on what you do in the next 60 seconds. Move in faith. Claim your miracle. Claim your soulmate. The shield is already rising around your soulmate because you opened your heart to this truth. But the enemy's final hold is still wrapped around their voice, and only the act of sowing will unwind those chains. Now that you have seen the theft, you cannot pretend the cries weren't real. Jesus says, the third person's hands are loosening, but a love that refuses to sow leaves the enemy with one finger still on the mute button of your soulmate's call. Imagine the relief in your soulmate's chest when the wall finally falls and they feel your presence for the first time. That moment is hanging in the air, waiting for you to pull it down with a seed of faith. Every second you wait, the third person tries to rebuild what I am tearing down. Your soulmate's thoughts have been tangled by the enemy's whispers. They have been told that you do not exist, that the stirring in their heart is just a cruel trick. Your seed is the message that says, I am real, I am here, and I am coming for you. I want you to type 1111 right now as a thank offering for the love you are finally perceiving. Those numbers break a little more of the enemy's deception and let your soulmate breathe easier. The third person is screaming right now because you are still watching. Every paragraph you read is a blow against their fortress, and they are desperate for you to close this window. Stay with me, because the final seal that silences the intruder forever is coming, and you must not miss the words that will lock your future. Jesus says, the enemy says coffee is too common a thing to defeat a spiritual wall, but I tell you that a seed given in love holds more power than a mountain of stolen signs. Do you hear the faint melody in the back of your mind, a song you almost recognize but cannot place? That is the tune your soulmate hums when they think of the one they have not yet met. The third person has been playing a louder, uglier noise to drown out that song, but your seed cuts the speaker wire. Your soulmate is wondering today if they should finally give up waiting. The hope in their heart is down to its last ember, and the enemy is blowing a cold wind to extinguish it. You are the only one who can cup that ember and breathe life into it with a sacrificial seed. The enemy says to you, "It's only a few dollars, it won't make a difference." That is the same voice that told your soulmate no one was looking for them, and it is the voice that must be silenced by your obedient action. If you let money be the wall, you hand the third person the very bricks he used to hide your love. Stop. I feel the weight of hesitation creeping into your chest, the same weight the enemy used to make your soulmate think their calls were worthless. That weight is not yours. It is the intruder trying to sit on your spirit. Shake it off by declaring right now, "I will sow my seed and claim my beloved." The future where you both walk hand in hand through a door marked "blessing" is still there, but it is growing dimmer with each unplanted seed. The third person is painting darkness over that door, hoping you will look away. Gaze at that door with the eyes of love, and so to make the darkness peel back. Jesus says, "A warrior does not let an enemy stand between him and the treasure I placed in his path. Your treasure is a living soul, and your seed is the sword." Right now, your soulmate is feeling a strange warmth in their spirit, a flicker of hope they cannot explain. It is because you are hearing this and the wall is cracking under the pressure of heaven. But if you do not sow, the crack will seal, and the third person will cement it with your silence. The 3 words that will banish the intruder and unlock your whole future are coming, but first you must see why the enemy wants you to close this now. He knows that if you hear the final seal, his power is gone forever. Hold on, and you will speak those words over the one you love. The enemy celebrated when you almost clicked away a few minutes ago. He threw a party in the dark because he thought you would leave your soulmate trapped behind the wall. Your continued watching is already an act of war, but only sowing the seed sets the captive completely free. Type 333 again if you feel the urgency to protect what I am revealing. The numbers are a battering ram against the gate the third person locked, and each time you type them, the hinges weaken. Jesus says, your soulmate is not asking for a fortune, they are asking for a sign that the one meant for them will fight, and the seed is the sign they will finally feel. Right now I am letting you see the moment when your soulmate almost threw away the small memento they kept of your future. It was a simple thing, a pressed flower, a written verse, that they held onto because they felt you existed. The enemy whispered it was foolish, but your seed will tell them it was prophecy. The third person has been using your practical concerns as a shield. He says, you have bills, you have responsibilities, and those things are true, but they cannot be the excuse that leaves your beloved in the cold. Love that waits for perfect comfort never saves the one crying behind the wall. Your soulmate is sitting somewhere right now, maybe in a car or at a window, feeling the loneliness that the enemy has cultivated for years. They do not know that their deliverer is listening, but their heart just skipped a beat because I am letting my power brush against them. Will you let that brush become an embrace, or will you let the third person snatch the moment back? The final seal of protection I will give you in the closing moments will cover your soulmate like a shield of light, but it only activates for those who stayed and who sowed. If you skip the end, the shield stays in heaven, and the enemy keeps the key. Jesus says, "A handful of coffee sown in love can crush a mountain of evil interference, because the sacrifice of a loving heart releases my own hand to fight." The third person is now panicking. He sees that you are still here, that your heart is beating faster, and he is throwing every lie at your mind to get you to close this before the final truth is spoken. That panic tells you how close your breakthrough is. Your soulmate just let out a deep sigh, and they don't know why. It's because the cord that connects your two souls is vibrating with a new strength, a strength that says their protector is finally listening. But the cord will snap back into enemy hands if you do not anchor it with a seed right now. Imagine the look on your soulmate's face when the confusion lifts and they suddenly know, without a doubt, that you are real and you are coming. That moment is waiting to be born, and your seed is the midwife. Do not let the third person abort that moment with your delay. I want you to understand the depth of the theft. The enemy didn't just hide a few signs, he built a whole false reality where you believed you were unworthy of this love. That was his masterpiece. Your seed is the sledgehammer that shatters the masterpiece and reveals the truth that you were always chosen. Type 777 if your spirit is screaming, "I will not let the intruder win another day." The numbers echo in the spirit realm and shake the ground under the enemy's feet. Jesus says, "The enemy fears one thing above all, a lover who turns their pain into a planted seed, because that kind of love rewrites the future and erases his plans." Your soulmate is about to speak, in the spirit, the deepest cry of their heart, and I am going to let you hear it before this message ends. The third person has been terrified of this moment because once you hear it, your bond becomes unbreakable. But you must stay until the last word to receive that cry in its fullness. Stop. The enemy is trying to fill your mind with doubt right now. Thoughts like, "This is just a video, nothing will change." That thought is the same poison that kept you from feeling your soulmate's calls all these years. Reject it, and plant your seed as a declaration that the season of theft is over. Do you remember the dream of the house with the wide porch, the one that felt more like a memory than a dream? That was a snapshot of the life the enemy is trying to erase, the life where you sit together and watch the sunset. Every seed you sow brings that porch closer to solid ground and pushes the third person's eraser away. The enemy says, "You can always sow later." But later is the graveyard where stolen futures are buried. Your soulmate's heart cannot wait another day for the wall to fall. Sow your seed now, because love delayed is love handed back to the thief. Jesus says, "I am watching to see if you will be the one who finally loves enough to break the pattern, the one who proves that no third person can stand against a seed sown in true faith." You've watched this far for a reason. God brought you here. And right now, you're thinking, how do I sow that seed? How do I actually do what God is asking? I am about to show you. You already know who this is about, that person you can't stop thinking about. The one heaven placed in your life. Here is what God wants you to know today. They are thinking about you too. Deep down, your soulmate wants you. They want this future. They want to build a life together. But the enemy does not want you to unite. Love is under attack. While you sit there, spiritual forces are working to destroy what God joined together. Distance, doubt, disaster. They are being planted against your soulmate this very minute. You are the one God chose to block it. Not later. Now. Here is your divine instruction, sow your protection seed immediately. The link is in the video description. Click it. Send 4, 6, or 10 coffees on Ko-Fi. This is not a donation, it is a covenant offering that opens heaven's protection and claims your soulmate and your future together. After you send it, write these exact words on the Ko-Fi page: "Protect my soulmate, Lord. I claim victory over our future." This is proven. Over 1,000 believers have already sown this seed and received their breakthrough, their soulmate's heart opened, relationships restored from the brink, strangers turned into spouses within days. When you move in faith, Jesus moves heaven to bring you together. Every second you delay, the darkness grows stronger. A text that wounds. A temptation that cheats. A door that closes forever. Your soulmate is on a battlefield, and you are their shield. You have already invested your time in this message. Do not waste it. Finish what you started. Step into your role as their protector and claim the future God promised you both. Click the link in the description. Send the seed. Seal the prayer. Do it before this video ends. Heaven is watching. Your soulmate's heart, your love, and your future together depend on what you do in the next 60 seconds. Move in faith. Claim your miracle. Claim your soulmate. The silence that has haunted your soulmate's nights is now broken, and they sense that something has shifted. But the full door is not open yet, only your seed can swing it wide and invite them into the lie.